Peace, 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 everyone. I'm heading home right now, and I wanted to take the opportunity to share with you guys some thoughts that I've been having over the last couple weeks, and definitely over the last couple days. Very strong, um, conversation that I think is important to have, and as always, just trying to add value to our lives and something that can maybe be resourceful to you and help you make better decisions and move more in the direction and in alignment with the things that you actually want to be doing in your life. So if you're wondering about my shirt, it's for the fire department. We do wear pink during the month of October to support the awareness of breast cancer. So uh, that's why I'm wearing pink. My daughter all the time, she tells us, or she tells me when I get home, she's like, "Why are you wearing mommy's shirt?" And it's pretty funny. But yeah. So I've been thinking a lot over the last couple weeks when we keep asking questions and we keep sharing information with those around us. What's the point of that? Why do we keep asking questions or keep bringing up the same topic to different friends, family, or even strangers? And a lot of times, what I've found is that we're just looking for that reassurance and we're looking for that confirmation of what it is that is on our mind, right? So when we're sitting there and we're asking this question over and over, we're just trying to get that head nod from other people that helps us know, okay, I am making a good decision, or not making this decision or not making this move is for the betterment. And it's brought up a lot of interest in me over the last couple of days, as I've been paying particular attention to the conversations that I've been having, the conversations that people have been having with me, and the conversations just randomly in stores, just kind of overhearing it and listening, not in like a creepy way, of course, but just hearing people like trying to persuade the listener, the person that they're communicating with, on why, explanation or topic X, Y, and Z needs to, move in this direction, or it should be a yes or a no, right? And what I found is, like I said, we're looking for that confirmation. We're looking for others to agree with the movement that we're making, or the movement that we are choosing not to make, so that we know we're not missing out, we know we're not making a mistake, and in turn going to make a decision that we're going to end up regretting later down the road. And so it, it is interesting to me because a lot of those topics and a lot of those conversations are a cycle, right? It's a cycle that we continue to have in our life, and as much creativity that we throw to it, it really holds the same spirit, that same cycle. And I know it's cliche and we've heard it so many times, but in order to create change in our life, we need to do something different. And that's where this gets a little tricky, because again, I said that when we throw all the creativity that we can to a situation or a topic, with that said, we can get so creative sometimes with our words and with our processes, and with what we, or the information that we share with others, that it can almost paint a picture that the movement that we're making or whatever is actually change, and it's something that's a little bit different than what we've been doing. But in reality, it's just the same cycle. It's just the same thing over and over and over again, just kind of holding a little bit of a different face, a little bit of a different mask, right, during that situation. And a lot of times we get upset because what ends up playing out is we feel like, okay, I'm telling a different story. No, this is different. This time it's different. It's this excuse me. It's this and that, and for that reason, my life is going to be different. I'm doing the things that I actually want to be doing, and I found that when we are moving in that new direction, when we know that we're trying something different, is when we get that feeling of being liberated, right? If we're doing something that we feel is different, but it doesn't give us that kinesthetic feeling, that feeling within ourselves, within our gut brain, that this is different. Like what I'm doing is actually different. It may not work out, but it is at least in turn something different. And so you're giving yourself that opportunity, and there's the potential to have a true different result. So the goal is to try to escape that comfort zone and escape explaining yourself over and over and over again, or explaining your situation or whatever in extensive detail. When you really want an answer from something, or for something, number one, the biggest recommendation that I can have is to have believable people in your life. And that falls back a lot on mentorship, and just those people that are going to tell you the truth. They're not going to tell you what you want to hear. And because when you have that, you're not going to go from people to people to people trying to ask the same question, trying to get, a data sheet, right, with all the, all these little plot points of like, okay, this person said this person said that, and at the end of it, you get this conclusion, right? It's not a science project. It's what you're pursuing is the truth. And when you have those believable parties, you may have a handful of them or less. And when you go to those people, when they tell you something, okay, this is the truth. This is really the direction that I need to be taking um, in my life. And a lot of times, and what I've had in my own personal life, to be fully transparent with you, I've had moments where I've had these questions and I've had these ideas, and I've thought to myself, okay, if I got this person on the phone, or if I was able to email them or have this just a line of communication with this person, what would they say? And usually, after you build a relationship with people, you can have a pretty strong idea. You may not always want to rely on this, especially if it's something that's really important, something that you need to hear. But in those situations that are not that mission critical conversations, you can almost anticipate what they're going to say, and in those moments, it provides you that clarity, right? And it gives you that opportunity to shed light on the situation that you have. So having those believable people in your life is so important for you to to kind of just move without having to waste all that time going through all those other avenues, all those other people, and all that creative writing. All of that is time and opportunities that you can spend taking action and doing things that really, a lot of times, it's the work that you're just trying to get yourself out of, right? I mean, I can take it all the way back to high school for me. I would get more creative on trying to tell my teachers why I didn't do my homework, or make up this story, when in reality, if I just did my homework, it would have saved me a whole bunch of time, a whole bunch of headache. But at that time, I still had a lot of maturing to do. And obviously, at this point in my life, I know, okay, sometimes, there is opportunities and there's ways to be creative. And then there's also opportunities where you just have to kind of punch that time card, put in the work, and then let the, you know, let the dividends pay as time carries on. It's kind of like a stock. You invest in a stock, and let's say it pays dividends. It pays you every month or every quarter. It's investing your money. So you work for your money. You put your money in the stock market. The stock market pays you dividends. It's the same thing with your time and energy, right? If you're spending that money instead of investing it in the stock market, then it just kind of goes away. It's just like if you sit there and you waste your time trying to get creative and trying to get out of the work, it's never going to build and prosper into much else. Okay, it's just going to continue to be that cycle that I was explaining. So that's probably one of the most important things. And then the second thing is kind of what I touched on in the first place, and that's trying to go for those uncomfortable feelings, right? Because that uncomfortable feeling is going to give you that feeling of liberation in the end, when you're moving in alignment with what you know is the proper angle. So a lot of times, what you find yourself in situations doing is trying to find something that's comfortable, something that you've done in the past, something that um, you've been thinking about for a long time, as far as maybe like part of that brief interruption. I don't know if it has a time lapse. I got a phone call. Anyways, as I was building, the I gotta think about it. mixing up the phone call now. No, I don't know if you guys saw how close that guy was. He was on a motorcycle. He got super close. Anyways, um, it's just like throwing everything at me to get distracted right now. I'm gonna bring it back. Bring it back. So what we were building on was that the that cycle, right? That you're building to create that comfort. Um, a lot of times, and if it's something that's a tangible object or something that is just not part of that bigger picture. So if you have a bigger goal to invest money, right? Invest money in um, whatever avenue you can think of. If you want to buy a business, or if you want to create a business, if you want to invest in the stock market, if you want to invest in real estate, if you just want to put money together to put under your mattress for safekeeping and emergency or whatever, going out and spending money on, I wouldn't say unnecessary things, but we'll take a car for example. If you go out and you buy a car, but what your real goal is to save, to create the security blanket, or to invest, whatever it is, and you take that money and you go to get a car and you get like the most expensive car. We'll just say that there's I don't know if you guys have purchased a home before, but you can usually go to a mortgage lender and they'll tell you like what your maximum budget is. We'll say that's the same thing for a car, and you go to the car lot and you buy the maximum amount that you can afford on that car, which basically means that you have little to no money left over to invest or save. Your primary goal. When you go and you do something like that and you spend extra money, you spend that excess on stuff that's not really necessary, because you need something, of course, maybe in a car. If you live like where I live and I do a lot of commuting, you do need a car, right? But you don't need to go out and get that most expensive car. Why? Because it takes away from your opportunity to invest. When we do those types of things, we are doing something that makes us feel comfortable, right? It feels good to have that nice car. You get that new car smell, you get the upgrades, and it's got navigation, and it's got the sunroof, and it's got the rim and tire package. You get all of that stuff involved or included, and it makes you feel good, right? It's something that makes you feel good in the moment. But then when you start driving that car around, and the months and the years even pass by, and you're not doing anything toward that bigger goal of investing, that's when we start to create those hindrances in our lives. And those things do a lot more than just create hindrances and say, okay, yeah, I'm not able to save as much. What it does is it almost takes away some of your self-confidence, right? Because when you say, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it, and you attach a purpose to it, especially that, it kind of intensifies it a little bit by saying, okay, this is for my security, for myself if I ever got sick or injured or anything, for my family, or I just want to have that money there. When we are unable to follow through on that, we lose confidence in ourselves, because now the stuff that we're even telling ourselves, it's hard for us to believe, because we're going against what it is that we're saying we're going to do. And destroying that confidence can have that ripple effect. It can start to pour over into other things. You start looking at your relationships and you're like, man, the stuff that I say to my significant others, am I really sincere in that? Or am I going to do the same thing that I did with my car, or my career? If I'm trying to build a career, or a business, you know, you understand. And sometimes you may be looking or listening to what I'm saying right now and thinking, no, that's a little far fetched. You're really taking this pretty far. I am, but it's because it has the potential to do that. Whereas if we stick to what it is that we say we're going to do, and even if it's very minute, that's why sometimes I remember I'm trying to think of the book. I think I know the title of the book, but I can't remember the author. It's like Make Your Bed, or Why You Make Your Bed in the Morning. And it's basically starting your day off by saying, look, I'm going to do this. It's something very simple, but when you do it, it starts to develop this confidence in yourself that's saying, look, when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Again, something very simple, but it's not a momentum thing, but it's something that shows you that what you say you're going to do, you are actually doing. you have to be very careful with momentum, because momentum is a very emotional state. It's something that, you see a lot of times in sports. You see the crowd, getting really, really excited, and then the team's playing with a lot of energy. They're feeding off the crowd, and what happens when they miss the shot? The whole crowd goes silent, and then it takes twice the amount of effort to get the crowd back to what it was, right? So that happens in our own personal life when we're trying to move with all this momentum and, you know, thinking that, oh, everything's going in our way. As soon as something does not go in our way, we lose that momentum. It's like the crowd just goes completely silent, and then we start get second guessing ourselves. We're like thinking to ourselves, man, if I would have made that shot, or if that, if I would have gotten hired at that job, or if I would have, gotten that client and my business was thriving, we start playing that shoulda, coulda, woulda, and that what ifs, and that just completely again destroys our confidence and our belief in what it is that we're doing. So be very mindful of that momentum. Allow yourself to see things as isolated situations and isolated opportunities, and your primary goal should be to win or to capitalize as much as you possibly can in that isolated situation. Sometimes it gets difficult. Sometimes it becomes like this big gray area, and you're like, well, is this life the isolated opportunity, or is this moment, is this conversation, is this meal this isolated opportunity? I mean, depending on what you're going with, that's why a lot of times it's also important and beneficial to work with mentors and coaches, because if you're having trouble identifying those things, that's one of the things that I like to do a lot of times with my clients that I work with, is just to start to identify those situations. So, again, very simple. I've seen such, you know, huge dramatic changes in people over, a not overnight, let's be realistic, but over a couple weeks to a couple months of paying attention to those opportunities that we may, just in normal cases or normal situations, but not having this conversation, not even be aware of. But as we gain that awareness and we gain the perception and the understanding, or the understanding that what we understand within ourselves, again, that gut brain, believing in it and understanding that, these are the opportunities, these are the moments, these are the things that we can highlight and that we can extract energy from, right? To help us feed and build into other opportunities. And a lot of times, what I found in my personal life and the clients that I worked with, is pulling from that extracting, right? It's very important for us to extract, right? It's very important for us to extract as much as we can. But I have a 6-year-old, so you have to stick with me here. Um, Monsters Inc., right? The movie is about like these monsters, and they have a city, I think, to run off of the energy that they acquire from screams, from scaring people. So that's like what happens when we extract, right? And we pull a lot of energy, whether it's from, an opportunity, or if it's from people. That energy, equates to something that helps us run our city. It helps us to run our innerverse, right? But later on in the movie, what they found was that laughter was like 10 times as potent. That if they were able to get the people that they were once trying to scare to laugh, their the energy resource was 10 times the return of what it was when they were trying to scare people. And for me, how that translates into our life is when we start to try to give back to others. When we try to pull that information, and not always just trying to go around and leech off of people. It's important for us to also look at the opportunities that we have to give back, because as a teacher, we are requiring more from ourselves, right? We have to know the material at a level that is above, the standard, above average. We move from being in that student seat to being in that teacher's role. And yeah, you may never want to strive to be a teacher. You may never want to strive to be in those moments or in those opportunities. But it happens sometimes without us even realizing it. Whether it's our close friends, our family, or if you have kids, they are looking for that guidance. And of course, like I said, it's maybe not that formal role where you are a teacher, or like me, where I stand in front of an audience and I share the things that I've learned. But you have those opportunities to still shed a lot of light and a lot of information on certain things and topics that you have had the opportunity to extract that information. When you're able to convert it and share it with other people, it creates so much more energy for us in our life that you know I would love for you guys to experience that. I mean, truly, it is it's a game changer, so allow yourself to understand that, like they did in that movie, right, that scaring provided a source of energy and information, or energy for the city, and extracting information from others does that as well. But when we're able to transition to laughter, right, and to sharing that information to something that's a little bit more enjoyable, we are able to provide a lot more energy for the world. And that's why giving and sharing is so important. So again, just some of these topics have been on my mind. I feel like I could talk a lot more about it, but I'm getting close to the house, and as usual, traffic around. I just wanted to share that stuff with you. But I hope you guys found this information helpful. As always, if you guys have your questions, you can email them to me. That seems to be the common or the favorite as of right now, and that's going to be at info at jrsinspires.com. You can post your question there. I try to go live as often as daily. Um, Sometimes it doesn't happen because I'm doing some other things. Got these bigger plans and goals going on uh, at the same time, at the same moment, but trying to task switch, and get to all the things that are important to me in my life as often as I can. So if you guys are here and you're catching it live and you want to share a question, or if you want to share some input, again, I'm very open to that as long as it's respectful and moving in alignment with the topic that we have at hand. Other than that, as usual, if you want to follow me on social media, it's going to be Instagram and Twitter are both at JRS Inspires, Facebook.com/JRS Inspires, and I am also on Blog Talk Radio. You can find my channel. You can probably guess it by now, JRS Inspires. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for checking in. You can also go to the website to download that free ebook that I have, Guide to Working with Mentors. You can see how it works in with a lot of the stuff that I speak about. It is a huge resource that we have, and a huge opportunity that we all have. Whether you've taken advantage of it in the past and you want to elevate your experience to another level and have a deeper understanding, the ebook can help you there. Or if you've never done it before, if you feel like it's just not for you, it's maybe just for a select few, or you don't feel like your life is that interesting or that involved, I think you will be pleasantly surprised. Just read the book. It's a very quick read. I try to pack it with all the information that you need so that it's there and available for you. I also have it available in audio form on the website. So go ahead and check it out again at jrsinspires.com. Until next time, guys, that's all. I'm Jonathan. I'm signing. Peace.